Mud, leaves, and raindrops swirled in the air as the chopper peeled off. No farewell, no hover, just up and gone, like it didn't want to be caught in whatever mess it just dropped off. 6 students stood in the swampy wreckage of a forward outpost, if you could call it that. They were all drenched. Except Reaction. She was dry, but also completely covered in mud, like someone had rolled her in it on purpose and lost the fight. No one asked. They were too tired. Everyone looked like they'd just crawled out of a jungle-themed washing machine on spin cycle. Edison knelt nearby, hunched over something buzzing and flickering in his hands. Probably dangerous. Definitely homemade. Jack stood off to the side, squinting up through the clouds like they held secrets only he could solve. Monroe hadn't said a word since landing. But her hair was perfect, of course. Wouldn't be surprising if the mud was good for her skin. And somewhere, off near the tree line, Viz and Viz were glitching. Not visibly, no one's ever actually seen them, but you could feel it. Like a shiver under your skin, or that weird lag when your brain knows someone's watching before your eyes do. Static in the corner of reality. Reaction stood still. Arms crossed, steaming softly, literally, little wisps rising from her shoulders like her temperature hadn't settled yet. Then came the bark. General, debrief in 10. No showers till we scrub your mission data. Groans. Jack raised a hand without looking. Jack. Counteroffer. Debrief during the shower? Monroe elbowed him in the ribs. Not playfully. Not hard either. Just enough to log a warning. They started trudging up a slick, moss-covered hill toward the warp tower that passed for a base in Echo 9B. Not 9BB Guri. That name got retired, somewhere between Disgrace to Celsius and Boy Band Energy. No one asked why. They just didn't say it. Same rule as don't look directly at the coffee machine. Quick recap. The Green Mohawk Arc. The world went full superhero decades ago. Powers, regions, politics, every zone runs 2 teams. A certified duo, hero and sidekick, poster pair, publicly polished, and a 5-person trainee squad, legacy kids, charity cases, or raw talent with attitude problems. The pros handle the real threats. The 5? They try not to explode during training. Echo 9B used to be elite. Now it's a rehab zone. Cliffside base, missing roof, morale held together with sarcasm and duct tape. And that's where our new recruits landed. Soaked, scattered, and already late for the first test. 5 new recruits, thrown together in a region long past its glory. Their instructors, living legends, half present, half rumored, all complicated. The general still ran the zone. Chose a student with terrifying potential and one inconvenient flaw. His powers shut down the moment his thoughts get too dark. The Pharaoh picked Monroe. She knew how to act cold, calculated, and ruthless. Just enough to get selected. What he doesn't realize is that the act hasn't dropped. Not once. The haughty and negative, retired now, left behind their daughter Reaction to figure out who she is outside their shadow. The invisible didn't speak, didn't appear. May or may not be training Viz, who may or may not care. And Edison? He wasn't on anyone's original list, but the region needed a 5th, and he needed a chance. So he showed up, uninvited, unafraid, and carrying enough ambition to build his own spotlight. 5 names, 1 fading region, and a playback queued up on the war room wall. Their first real test is about to begin. Again. General, let's go through the holo footage. No particular order. Learn something, or pretend to. The lights dimmed, the war room cracked to life, walls glowing, floor panels humming, the ceiling above flickering with high-def projection light. The smell of ozone leaked into the space like memory. Someone coughed. No one laughed. And then, chaos. The jungle materialized in flickering detail, every leaf wet, every vine alive. Thick ropes of vegetation curled above shallow pits of sludge. The air shimmered, even in hologram form. Too wet, too hot. The kind of humidity that punches through your lungs and asks questions later. A transport drone hovered mid-drop. Steel mesh sides, 6 armed guards, 4 prisoners, a simple relocation. Until lightning. The sky marbled, white veins tearing through charcoal clouds like angry architecture. A bolt arced sideways like it changed its mind mid-fall, slamming straight into the drone's containment ring. It didn't short. It shattered. Crackling blue tendrils webbed through the air, licking at the hull, frying the field nodes. The energy barriers around the prisoners popped like blown glass. And just like that, Paper Cuts moved first. She didn't fall, she floated. Arms wide, body light, slicing through the air like a drifting page in a storm. She landed sharp, razor thin, bone blades glinting from elbows, hips, fingertips. Her hair snapped behind her like thread wire, cutting through restraints, branches, and one unlucky vine snake that didn't slither fast enough. She didn't run through the jungle. She sliced a path through it. Mudslide dropped next. No grace, no style, just impact. Half his body flattened into the muck like a busted sandbag, then liquefied. He flowed through the terrain, turning solid and loose at will, rising up in ridges and launching himself forward in sludge-surfing waves. Every step left the jungle less jungle. A guard panicked, pulled the ripcord on a parachute, screamed halfway down, then silence. The camera panned across the ruined drop zone, and there, at the far end of the wreckage, through smoke, sparks, and slowly spinning wreckage, Slim Panda. 600 pounds of smug, black and white fur, belly like a carnival prize you couldn't lift. The chopper was nose down, blades shearing leaves. Panda gripped both sides of the torn hull, paused, smiled, and launched himself backwards through the flame-ringed exit like he was playing a game. He bounced once, twice, then stretched like rubber, snagged a palm tree, and slingshotted himself into the canopy. And finally, from high above, a parachute, falling gently. Chameleon, already fading, already cloaked. He landed soundlessly. Boots kissed the mud, then vanished completely. Static hit the feed, glitched frames. Playback ended. Back in the war room, no one moved.
Okay, so apparently everyone on YouTube is legally required to tell you to like and subscribe. So I guess this is me being cool now, smash the bell, punch the algorithm, gently whisper to the subscribe button. Whatever it is the cool channels say. I don't know. I just want people to actually see this stuff.
Rain hammered the roof. Pharaoh stood near the open doorway, drenched, irritated, still somehow dramatic. Well, this just became a field mission. You will all be evaluated. No one moved. Monroe, you take paper cuts. She's your style. Reaction, Mudslide should pair nicely against you. And let's try a little team-up. Edison, Jack high, he's yours. No one questioned it. Not because it made sense, because when the general handed out matches, it meant you were already expected to survive them. Jungle Gym Arena. Afternoon. Fog simulation active. An overgrown clearing somewhere west of the crash zone. The ground flexed underfoot. Thick vines twisted between steel frames, old obstacle course beams and bounce plates grown over with moss. A warm fog rolled low across the arena, never breaking above the knees, just enough to blur footing and screw with depth. And at the center of it all, Slim Panda. Still. Arms relaxed, stomach smug, looking like a mall mascot that wandered into a thunderstorm. Edison, techno-savant, turned down a stable sidekick gig with an A-tier hero, said he wanted a sandbox, not a leash. Now here, part of the Wildcard 5, strapped into a backpack full of ambition and duct tape. His gear? Always overbuilt. Tracking drones with too many legs, EMP spikes that fry the map, jet boots that definitely weren't approved. Cloaks, tethers, folding shields, shock grenades, half of them labeled in permanent marker. Visually, scrapyard wizard meets cyberpunk intern. The match started quiet. Panda didn't blink. Then, snap. Joints cracked open like a folding chair in reverse. Mass ballooned. Rubberized limbs expanded outward. 600 pounds of bounce and fury. No intro. No threats. Just chaos. I don't have a file on that. Jack stepped forward. Calm. Focused. Predictable people don't scare me. But this wasn't predictable. Panda bent physics. Slingshot attacks. Rubberized rebounds. He collapsed into sludge, then flung skyward like a trampoline had opinions. Jack tried reading the threads, watching future movements. Nothing held. Every path scattered. He's not wrong, he's unreadable. Edison knelt beside a box that hissed and sparked like it owed someone rent. Galactic-grade tether cables? Nah, I build better. I just don't label the front end. He primed twin titanium cables, heat-seeking, retractable, with velocity anchors. ADAT tripwire tech, but like, on a budget. Jack stopped predicting. He listened. Breath, bounce, pivot, wait. He moved early, not because he saw it coming, because he felt it. Slim Panda struck wide. Jack ducked close. Oh, you're a rhythm guy. They synced. Jack moved like a dance. Edison dropped his net, 2 reactive spools arcing down from above. Snap. Cables caught mid-lunge. Panda's arms locked in a wide swing. Thread you like a spaghetti dinner, buddy. Panda reared back, snapped into the air like a broken yo-yo. Jack launched from a vine, timed the swing, spun once in midair, and cuffed the ankle clean. Impact. Panda hit the ground in a heap of bouncing mass and tangled limbs, twitching, groaning, steam rising off the vines where cables burned in. And Jack? Already standing, already locked in. The hollow room shifted again. Jungle tones faded out. A new scene swelled into view. Muted green light, artificial fog, and steady simulated rainfall. This wasn't a fight arena. This was an open marsh test site meant for mid-tier agility drills. Layers of shallow water, thick reeds, moss-slick stonework, and soft terrain waiting to betray your ankles. In the center, a wide pond rippled like it was breathing. Then, boom! Mudslide erupted upward, riding a geyser of sludge like a surfer on a tidal wave. He laughed like a kid on summer break, arms wide, body tilted forward as the mud curled into a ramp beneath him. He wasn't running. He wasn't even standing. He was flowing, leaning into the terrain, letting the marsh do the work. Mudslide. Who needs a hoverboard when the planet likes you better? Beneath him, puddles sucked inward and hardened. Reeds flattened into natural tracks. He skated across a blooming obstacle course made from his own mess. Then came reaction. No dramatic entrance. She didn't fly. She cut in. Boots struck the ground with a sharp crack, instant ice freezing the splash beneath her. With every step, a streak of frost extended forward, letting her glide with eerie precision. Clean lines, tight pivots, no wasted motion. You're burning through my patience. Mudslide. Good, I run faster in heat. And he did. Every time she threw fire to collapse his lanes, he stole it. Converted it into speed. The warmer the marsh got, the more fluid his tricks became. Steam trailed behind them like a storm cloud with whiplash. He spun sideways, launched from a twisted half-pipe, and hurled twin mud balls laced with pebbles. Reaction raised a quick frost wall with one boot, shattered through it in a burst of fog, and lobbed a molten arc behind her. The fight snapped into a rhythm. He looped wide, skimming trench curves. She cut corners, sending bursts of flame into his runoff paths, and freezing shortcuts before he reached them. Mudslide never looked at her. He was watching the ground, reading dips, listening for shifts, riding by instinct. At the edge of the pond, he dipped low, dragging one arm through the sludge like an oar, carving a new turn mid-skid. Reaction tried to intercept, sent a vertical flame to close his path. He dropped beneath it like liquid, trailing slop behind him. They passed each other, again and again. Steam curled where her heat kissed the mist. The air hissed with pressure and swamp sweat. He was faster in the terrain. She was faster over it. It was a race, and right now, he was winning. He pivoted hard, looped the full edge of the pond, and baited her. She followed. Then, sink. Her foot hit pre-soaked terrain, and she dropped an inch into it, soft, uneven. Reaction rolled out quickly, mud snapping at her boots. Reaction. You're playing with it. That's the whole point. He vaulted again, this time over the water, riding a bridge of compressed mud just solid enough to carry his weight. 2 bounces. Clean landing. He whipped a wave behind him. She didn't flinch. She froze it midair, shattered it with a flame punch that turned the mist into crystal shrapnel. The crowd, watching through the glitchy holofeed, let out a collective cheer. Reaction landed hard on a frozen branch hanging low over the water, soaked, steaming. Eyes locked on him across the pond. Reaction. Quiet through clenched teeth. Okay. She stopped. Stopped throwing counters. Stopped playing cautious. Stopped trying to outmaneuver mud. She took 2 steps back, felt for solid ground. Let the rain soak her arms. Let the mist hang on her jacket like a dare. Then, her stance shifted. Left hand fire. Right hand frost. Her whole body pulled taut like she was holding a storm in a glass. Try surfing this. Womb. She unleashed everything. A white-hot spiral of hydrogen flame roared from her palm, wide as a turbine, loud as a freight train. The pond screamed. The mud boiled. Steam blasted outward in a flash evap cloud, flooding the field, scrambling the holocams. Mudslide tried to pivot, tried to bend. Too late. Fire from one side, rain from the other. He froze mid-motion, leg cocked, arm half raised, grin still plastered on. Not melted, not burned. Baked. A glaze hissed across him, Cracks spread along his surface, tight, fractal, deliberate. A moment passed. Reaction. Am I glazing you? She walked a slow circle around the hardened figure. Yep, full ceramic. Little overfired on the shoulder, but yeah, no. I'd show this at a gallery. She knocked the side of his cheek with her knuckle. Raku-fired dumbass. That's our girl. Always did know how to cook. Negative. Too hot, you'll burn the whole damn pond next time. At least she finally used both sides. You're welcome for the victory. Chameleon flew across the screen in the background, arms flailing, splashed directly into the still hissing pond. That's got to be his third crash today. Third recorded. Steam hung like ghost breath. Rain returned, quieter now. Mudslide, silent. Then twitch. A finger moved. Then a knee. The rain softened the edges of his trap. Slowly, sludgily, he pushed free. One leg cracked loose. One hand slipped free of its baked cocoon. He wasn't whole, but he was moving. Action. He's not done. Mudslide, raspy from somewhere under a crust. Nah, just needed a quick bake. The projection dome flickered to life, casting heat-hazed jungle of seated trainees. Humidity simulation. Active. Vines coiled along towering trees, shadows twisting in rhythm with the slow, mechanical breath of the system. The clearing on-screen shimmered, mist-wrapped sunlight drifting through branches. Insects buzzed low. Everything too still. From the back of the theater came a whisper. This is hers? Another more doubtful. I thought she wasn't that good. Then, Monroe stepped into frame. She looked soft at first glance. Elegant, graceful, unbothered. But trained eyes caught it. Reactive mesh armor. Threaded weave. Reinforced hem. No wasted motion. Left hand, 14-inch shears, ambidextrous but favoring the left. Right, stem grip flail, current pulsing faintly through its coiled core. She moved like she had somewhere better to be, and was giving this fight a courtesy minute. In the real theater, Monroe sat frozen in row 3. No smirk, no pride, just watching. Then, on screen, the grass split. Thin diagonal lines carved through the clearing. Air displaced, not torn. Like blades had whispered through it, a ripple of gasps. Paper cuts. She didn't appear. She revealed herself. Armor gleamed like laminate, hair folded like origami, every motion an angle, every angle a weapon. She darted, green on green, too fast to follow. A shimmer, a hiss, a forward snap. Monroe pivoted. Crack! The flail shot out, slamming into slicing strands midair. They broke like sticks, like bones. Steam hissed from a vine, freshly burned. A voice echoed behind her. That robe don't scare me. Pretty things die just the same. I'll just have to get sharper. A few students laughed. Monroe didn't. Then don't blink. Above the canopy, movement. Then whump. Chameleon dropped into the scene uninvited. Scales flickering, claws extended, angling for the backshot. Before anyone could call it out, Monroe twisted, mid-step, and kicked him in the ribs like she was taking out the trash. He flew sideways, bounced off 2 trees, vanished into mist. She didn't even break her stride. She glanced at the empty holographic seat where Viz was probably watching. Thanks again. Student. Somewhere in the back. Got you. Laughter rolled through the theater. Even Monroe, the real one, let a smirk slip.
Hey! Sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled brain fire, but I gotta be that person for a second. I know. Gross. But the thing is, I don't really have that many subscribers. So if you're hearing this, you're already in the elite inner circle. Might as well hit that button and make it official. Maybe even the bell too, if you're feeling emotionally available today.
Back on screen. Paper cuts dove from above. A full spiral, arms out, blades extended. Hair spun like a weaponized ribbon. Monroe dropped to a knee, rolled through the thick mud, came up spinning. Crack. Spark. The ball hit mid-rotation, caught paper cuts and spun her off course, crashing her into a knot of vines. Then Monroe started humming, low, calm, like she was dusting a bookshelf, not breaking someone in half. She stepped sideways through the underbrush, flail dragging behind her like a leash on gravel. You can give up, you know. I'll put in a good word. Best Prison's got a music therapy program now. Might even drop some credits on your books. The theater froze. Not the projection, the students. Even the instructors stopped pretending not to care. Paper cuts hesitated mid-step. A single orchid petal drifted down between them. Training lights snapped on. Simulation paused. What did you say right there? All heads turned. Monroe sat upright, composed. Surrender now or bleed like the rest. It was a lie. I needed time. A beat. Humph. Simulation resumed. Back in the fight, Paper Cut spun tighter, faster, desperate. Her limbs shrank to blades. Her edges shimmered like they were cutting air itself. But thinner meant weaker. She was slicing herself apart. Monroe advanced, flail in orbit, shears snapping rhythm. One swing, then another. The flail coiled around Paper Cut's legs, tight as ribbon. She tripped. Hit the mud hard. Told you not to blink. Paper Cuts lunged anyway, hair slashing, fingernails like knives. Monroe dipped her shoulder, then struck. Snip, she stepped to the left. Snip, snip. Paper strands dropped like party decorations gone wrong. Her hair hit the mud in long, clean curls. Armor peeled. Snip. One arm fell away. Monroe stepped in close. The flail spun, louder now. Brighter. Snip, snip. Crunch. Paper Cuts hit the ground. Crumpled. Bleeding. Bald. Glitching at the seams. Steam rose from her chest. Monroe stood over her. One blade raised. Hope that looked brutal enough for you. Training debrief room. Dusk lighting. Sim dome cooling. The mood, thick. The final hollow flickered out. The jungle dissolved. Rain silenced. Static faded. The general stood front center, hands clasped behind his back, jaw set. Each instructor will speak on their student's performance, publicly, then privately. Pharaoh didn't wait his turn. He turned to Monroe, smirking like a proud artist admiring his own reflection. Flawless, as expected. You are a reflection of me. Monroe said nothing, but her jaw locked, just slightly. The general pivoted toward Jack. Hi, your judgment remains sharp, though your hesitation nearly cost you. Jack grinned, unfazed. Didn't cost me, though. Reaction leaned back in her chair, arms crossed, expression neutral. Her parents spoke next. You handled Mudslide well. Proud of your restraint. But you still fight like someone with something to prove. Reaction didn't respond. She didn't need to. The general gave one tight nod. We'll review each engagement in detail. Then tomorrow, you clean this place. Consider it humility training. Monroe raised a hand, deadpan. Sir, permission to burn the mud off my boots? Permission denied.